friends, this is Brian Ice. I'm here to answer to some great questions of my friend Lautaro.
Let's go. ¿Cómo están, amigos de YouTube? Volvemos con un nuevo video, una nueva entrevista, como lo solemos hacer, referida al mundo del Italo Disco. La entrevista esperada, vamos a estar hablando con Brian Ice, así que no se la pueden perder esta entrevista. Vamos a hablar sobre su carrera, sobre el mundo del Italo Disco, opiniones sobre la música, como solíamos estar haciendo. Así que quédate ahí. Antes de seguir con la entrevista, te recuerdo que si no estás suscrito al canal, puedes hacerlo en este momento haciendo clic en el botón que está abajo de este video y activar la campanita para no perderte ninguna de las novedades que vamos a estar subiendo a futuro. Más entrevistas, curiosidades, biografías, un montón de cosas referidas al mundo del Italo Disco, de High Energy, Eurodisco y demás, así que no te lo puedes perder. No te olvides de activar los subtítulos en español, tienen que estar arriba de este video, así no te perdés nada de la entrevista.
First of all, my childhood and my youth were great. I had a great time with friends. I used to have concerts because I started playing at about 14. I was 14 when I bought my first guitar. Well, actually, when I asked my father to buy me a guitar, and I started writing songs. So most of the time I was busy playing and writing songs, and with my friends with a band, playing gigs in clubs, and I had the luck to meet some real good friends that are still friends nowadays. So that was pretty good. And what about the beginning of Brian Ice? That was a real surprise. Yeah, I was not expecting all the success that came after Talking to the Night, and it was 1985. I had this demo that I wrote, a song that I wrote with Roberto Laiolo, great keyboard player and arranger, and we just tried with this song with the Memory Records, and they liked it. So, well, it was a great chance to make this happen, and they released the record. And it was boom, you know, a great success. So they asked me, do you want to go and sing along, and you want to, you know, go out for gigs and concerts and so on? You have to pick up a name. So I decided to choose Brian Ice because Ice was a nickname that a friend of mine used to give me in the band I was talking about before. And so I picked up Ice and then Brian. That's similar to Fabrizio, something that sounds like Brian Fabrizio, and so I said, why not? Brian Ice sounds good, and that was the beginning, 1985. As I said before, no, I was not thinking about success. I was not expecting that Talking to the Night had become one of the greatest songs of the 80s, as I can define it, or many people tell me it is. And so actually Talking to the Night is the song I recall as not the best, because I wrote songs that I of course love, each one of them, but that was the first one. It's, you know, like the first love, you never forget that, and it's kind of something that opened up the way for me to be one of the 80s singers and well, let's say stars, because many people are still fond of me. They came to my concerts and asked me for, you know, autographs, and something I was not expected for me, and it was great. I mean, I had the chance to travel all over Europe, all over the world, to sing my songs and have many people at my gigs. So thank you. Yeah, Talking to the Night, definitely, but just because it was the first. Well, if I could go back in the 80s, I wouldn't change a single thing. That was perfect. It was a great period. We were all friends, we had the chance to sing, we had the chance to travel, as I said, and so I wouldn't change it. It was magic, really magical period.
Continuando con estas preguntas que le estuvimos realizando a Brian Ice, a Fabrizio, le consultamos para que nos diera su opinión sobre 3 cosas buenas y 3 cosas malas referidas al mundo del Italo Disco, y esta fue su opinión.
Let's say 3 good and bad things about the 80s, and about especially Italo Disco. Oh well, the first thing that I thought of is the melody of the songs. It was really magical, as I said. Something smooth, something you can sing along, something creating a real atmosphere when you went to the discos. And so I think there were beautiful songs that you can sing even with a guitar, not only at a disco. And the arrangements were great, and the electronics was used for to make the sound, to make something really personal happen, something that is still in our hearts. The second thing I would like to say about Italo Disco is the universe it created. It was something really special, something we were all in. We were all living into that universe, and it was something that we believed in. So we believed in a better world in some way, and I think it was somehow a better world. The third thing that I think of about, good thing about the 80s was this freedom. The freedom about the period, the freedom that Italo Disco still gives us somehow. Because with these arrangements, with these sounds, with this melody, sometimes very, even too much easy, gives us a sense of freedom, of singing and just thinking of something good that can happen. 3 bad things. I don't know if I can find 3 bad things about Italo Disco. The first may be that the labels, the disco labels, didn't take Italo Disco so seriously. It was because either the singers were not speaking perfectly English while singing, or because it was not a great for them it was not great music, or it was just electronic, but a lot of other stuff, very similar stuff from England or America, was taken seriously. So I don't know why exactly. I guess it's for most of the Italo Disco is made by Italians, and they actually don't speak good English. Many lyrics were a bit strange. They are a bit strange. But it was not taken seriously. And the second time is that we didn't have a band. We couldn't have a band still. I sometimes perform, and the thing I miss more is the band. I'm used to, sing with musicians around me. That's unfortunately something that could be done, but almost nobody can actually do it. And the last thing, I don't know if there's a third thing bad. Probably the fact that it's not here anymore. I mean, there are a lot of good Italo Disco projects, but the Italo Disco is definitely the 80s, as far as I'm concerned, at least. I don't know if music today's better or worse than the 80s. It's a matter of taste. It's a matter of being young today is different than being young in the 80s. So I'm not the right person to ask if this music is better or worse. What I can say is that that kind of music was very, as I said, easy, simple, and simple melody, something pure, not so complicated. Today I see a lot of confusion. Everybody's thinking, you know, I've tried to do some 80s or 90s. I'm trying to freshen it up and do something different, but with the sounds of the 90s, of the 80s, of the 70s. I don't see a real style today that I can see with that pureness I perceived in the 80s. But that's, you know, just my opinion. Bueno, un saludo desde Italia y desde mi corazón a todos los fans de Brian Ice en América Latina. Sigue viviendo y cantando y viviendo con el espíritu de los años 80. Hasta luego.
Quiero súper agradecerle a Fabrizio Rizzolo por la oportunidad brindada para realizar esta entrevista. Espero que te haya gustado. Dale like si fue así. No te olvides de suscribirte al canal. Déjame en comentarios cuáles de las canciones que produjo Brian Ice. Déjame en comentarios qué canciones de Brian Ice te gustan. Track Into The Night, un mega hit sin dudas. Lo hemos escuchado seguramente acá en Argentina en Gapul. Dejar la fotito por acá. Gapul, un sello nacional, digamos, que hacía esos mixes al estilo spaghetti del Italo Disco. Ahí yo conocí a Track Into The Night de Brian Ice. Seguramente por ahí muchos lo habrán conocido también ahí. Pero déjame todo esto en comentarios. Sin más nada que decir, un abrazo grande a todos los fans de la música de los 80s y 90s y nos vemos en un próximo video. Chao, chao.
Just here, watching twinkle in your mind. So hard is just to find. And looking to the night, talking to the night. There's a shine of a light. There's nothing I can do.